since they're not an elected body and they can't make law, you don't need nullification. They're a federal agency with no jurisdiction in any sovereign state, which we are still one. I would exercise at least 2 of the Supreme Court decisions that have already come down. In Mack Prince, Justice Scalia, writing for the majority, said the EPA, and he named them specifically, has no authority to act in any state. And in New York versus the United States, again, Justice Scalia, writing for the majority, pointed out that the United States Congress has no authority to make rules outside of Article 1, Section 8 for any of the states.
Right.
So knowing that they have no authority, you simply tell them take a hike. If they try anything, then whichever county they try it in, they're introduced to the county sheriff.
Okay, but what if the EPA doesn't, since they can't respond, that instead, let's say the current administration, whoever's in office at the time, because it's not going to be just, it wouldn't just be the Obama administration, another administration would be elected, whoever's there, yeah. So that would mean that they would try to take other kind of action against the state of Wyoming. I mean, it would be more than just the EPA coming after you. So what then?
Well, Wyoming is in a unique position to be self-sufficient, but we're also in a unique position to call into our services, if you will, our customer base.
Yeah.
Since we provide 20 to 25% of the power for the United States of America, that gives us a tremendous amount of political clout. And with the way they're shutting coal-fired power plants around the country down, I will work very rapidly to get us to at least 30%, and my goal is 60%, because we have the coal resources to do that. We will be eventually producing 60% of the nation's power. So what are you going to do about us?
Well, now, what happens when not just the EPA, but the BLM, the Interior Department, come along and say, but this is federal land that this energy is on?
They're done. It is not federal land. Based on Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, they can own 10 square miles of Washington, D.C., and they're sovereign in the territories. And that's it. They're land managers. And they will be done along with the EPA, on Inauguration Day 2015, if Taylor Haynes is your governor.
Okay, but we can't just, let's say, would you issue an order, or would you have to go through the state legislature?
No, I can do it through the legislature, but I don't have to, because it's already law. And the governor's job is to faithfully enforce the statutes. And the Constitution for the United States is the grand law of the land. Now, if the legislature wants to come along, and there's a lot of talk, and they've looked at some bills, and if I'm the governor in transition, I will work with them to get that legislation right if they want to pass it. But I will send the regional managers for those agencies a cease and desist letter.
Okay, but then we wind up in court and eventually the Supreme Court, we don't?
No. Supreme Court actually doesn't have jurisdiction to hear that case because they're an arm of the federal government and have a built-in conflict of interest. And it's already been decided in the writing of the Constitution and in several other Supreme Court decisions already determined that we have that jurisdiction.